This is too much! Legion Remix is coming and the amount of content it has, old and actually new, makes us think social lives would have to be paused for it. No lockouts or gating for the content, no boring mission tables, and obviously accelerated reputation grinds, which would of course include artifact grinds as well. Actually, for the artifact weapons, things will change. One big issue still, the Mage Tower not coming back, but more on that at the end of the video. First, we need to talk about phases, because they can be seen as gating, but not really in this case. Similarly to Classic Realms and Seasons of Discovery, the Legion Remix will have content phases because if you haven't played Legion at all, it's maybe the expansion with the most amount of content ever released to this very day still. Having phases makes it easier to plan around collecting everything while having people to do the collecting with. And these phases will come every 2 weeks, with the last content phase ending after 2 months of the event. And boy oh boy, is there a lot of stuff to collect. The phases will start with Skies of Fire. This will closely resemble what Legion was at launch, with the Emerald Nightmare as the available raid at the time. This indirectly means that this phase will include most of the leveling for people starting right away, as well as most of the class campaigns you will be clearing together with setting up your artifact weapon or weapons. The second phase will be Rise of the Nightfallen, focused around the culmination of the Suramar campaign with the raid on Nighthold. Additionally, Karazhan as the mega dungeon will become available, as well as the Trial of Valor mini raid. Now, the Suramar campaign was a max level thing back in Legion, if I recall, and you would start it in the first patch and season of the expansion. Not sure if Phase 1 will have the first part of Suramar and Phase 2 the rest, because that would be gating. Phase 3 will be Legion Fall with the Broken Shore campaign that will unlock the class mount, and more on this later, but also open the worldwide assaults and the Cathedral of Eternal Night as the new dungeon. We will also raid the Tomb of Sargeras here for arguably the best class sets we ever received in World of Warcraft. Phase 4 will be Argus the Eternal, taking us to, you guessed it, Argus, where we see the beginning of Valeria's descent into the Void with the Seat of the Triumvirate dungeon and the culmination of our war against Legion in the Antorus raid. Past this phase, we will get a month worth of time to clear all of the things, collect all of the mogs and mounts, and achieve all of the achievements before the event ends in what they call the Infinite Echoes phase, probably culminating in a total span of 3 months for Legion Remix. If the MOP Remix is any indication, this will also speed up the rate at which you acquire bronze, the currency we will use for all cosmetics, as well as reputations and other things. On top of all the Legion content you will want if you missed it over 8 years ago, there is new, never before seen cosmetics and mounts to get only exclusive to the Legion Remix event, excepting Mage Tower of course, a rant I will get into at the end of the video in the hopes of raising some community voices about this topic. This video, as with all content on our channel, is supported by our Patreons at patreon.com/Marcelian&Flame. All content is available to everybody, but they do get early access to a lot of the stuff and a bunch of goodies from us. We really do appreciate the love, and not sure we could do this so much without you guys, so thank you. What can you do in Legion Remix though? Is it even worth playing if you already went through it when it was live? Well, we definitely think so, because the experience will not be the same and it could show us what future WoW can become. But the practical answer is way simpler. Finish your Legion Mog and Mount collection while adding more stuff to it. Stuff like the Fel-infused version of all the class mounts. After years and years of Void and Death themes that we've had, returning to old school Legion and Demon vibes will be a much more welcome change of pace, considering that this is going to hit mid Ghosts of Koresh patch when most people would be done with the Manaforge raid and Season 3 general content that is all pink, purple and dark blue. Who wouldn't want some big splashes of green, spiced with some demon goodness? The class mounts are not the only ones that get a Fel-infused vibe to them. We will actually recover Varian Sword that will be Fel corrupted. Not that pretty stuff Anduin is swinging around, but also a Fel version of Argus's Scythe. But don't worry, if you're still farming the old red and blue versions, those will be very obtainable with the bronze currency as part of the remix vibe, since that's how I got my Gara's shoulders in Mop Remix. Same goes for those Xavius shoulders and other unconfirmed mogs like Tashalak from Agromar. But this is stuff you mostly knew about. How about Manoroth's shield? You know, the big fat breastplate the demon was wearing before Grom Hellscream shoved Gorehall into his guts? Yeah, my green skin Fel-infused orc warrior's definitely gonna rock this bad boy. But my baby will for sure want the elvish Ajara garb for some sexy tyrant mage vibes. We also got a glimpse of a new set that we never had before, likely with more sets on their way. Let's talk about the artifact weapons. Most artifact traits we got in the day have made it into the classes via talents or passives, one way or another. So getting the OG artifact weapons was never on the table. Not to mention, the Evoker hasn't even been talked about at all. Artifact weapon or class campaign even. Maybe they haven't finished cooking stuff for the class yet, but I doubt it's going to be ignored. However, the artifact weapon traits will be remixed, as they say, into 5 branches, specifically Nature, Fel, Arcane, Storm, and Holy Light. This seems to be the same for all specs, so less variety. However, it will be more thematic to this whole cosmology map thing they keep shoving into the lore, and gives us ways to alter the visuals and likely effect of our classes by what element we want to associate with. In terms of a progression system, this seems really cool, especially because you can loot items that will add more ranks to traits, giving you options to double down on your path. We don't know yet what these traits do because they can still end up being boring stat boosts. But if not, it can open up a world where we use hero talents or something similar to augment our spells with visual skins. Something that people have been asking for the hero talents before the War Within was released. And that's how Copium sounds, guys. In the category of mounts, you will be, of course, able to get stuff like the Shackled Orzul, that was just part of the Collector's Bounty, and all the other Legion mounts. But additionally, stuff that you cannot get anymore, like the Violet Spellwing, and mounts never released in Legion, like this pink Mana Saber we sneaked in their release video. Everything we see here is only a part of what we will get, so expect way more stuff. The open world is getting a new coat of paint for people that like the MMO in MMORPG. On top of all of the Legion content you get, because remember, Legion introduced world quests and assaults, we will also get a world tier difficulty. So far, we know that the open world will be normal stuff with the remix content added, but you can actually change it to similarly how you change raid difficulty, where you make it harder. Heroic, to be precise. Raising the world tier difficulty will make everything more dangerous and even add affixes to mobs. This enables more rewards and likely faster currency and rep grinds for you once you are cranking a lot of damage with a lot of gear and weapon power. The open world in WoW has been slowly dying with each expansion, and personally I am super curious to see if the Diablo style of bumping up the difficulty for more and better loot takes off and we can have fun once again fighting actually dangerous but rewarding monsters out in the open. On top of this, the obelisk system will be added, which includes these obelisks spread out into the world that will buff you or give you a big demon to fight for extra rewards as well. All of this is closed off with the infinite research system, and from what it looks like, this seems to replace world quests and dailies. You get to choose one of these each day, and it will unlock objectives and quests for specific content type rewards. And if you miss a day or two, up to 6, you can bank these and spam them all at once so you don't feel like logging in every day. And the last feature that they gave us more details for is Mythic Plus, or how we will call it, Infinite Mythic Plus. Infinite because in Remix your power will scale to the point where you will be able to solo Mythic raids, or close to that end if Mop Remix will be used as an example. What will that mean for M+ though? Maybe keys level ranging in the hundreds? I certainly hope so. We will get the old Legion affixes back as well, or most of them anyway, with 4 new ones revolving around the Infinite Dragonflight, which sound like what Xal'atath is giving us in keys right now. A sort of minigame to beat for a big buff. Suffice to say, the variety will be larger for M+ in Remix. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The no Mage Tower discussion has been a hot topic around the Legion Remix event, with two sides that argue against each other, and I am here to upset one side and hopefully vindicate the other. Should we get Mage Tower appearances back with Legion Remix? Mop Remix did not give us challenge mode transmogs, so the devs refusing to put Mage Tower in would be consistent with their philosophy. However, the argument they gave is something I don't agree with, which was more or less around prestige rewards remaining prestigious across time and expansions. I am of the mindset that once enough time passes, unlock rewards for other people regardless of prestige. One, because who cares anymore? Why tie player ego and validity to a past challenge that pales in comparison to what modern WoW is, and punish people for not being able to play and earn the reward when it was current because they had whatever reason going on in their lives, maybe not even born yet? And what better way to bring them back than in an event instead of just being farmable as legacy content? 2. The game is not consistent with prestige design. We haven't had Mage Tower and Challenge Mode mogs added in the game since. Not in the way they were at the time. So what are we even doing here? Is the game about 99 things and another prestigious thing players can get every expansion? So in case you miss one, you can just put your gamer medal to use and get the new one? Well, we don't have a new one. There is no similar prestige that can pump our gamer juices to get. And I am sorry, but the Delve Nemesis mounts are the lamest exclusive cosmetic ever. These are not for a mount anyone can enjoy, and not tied to your class or spec that can make you feel proud for being a good paladin or a hunter. Difficulty of obtaining aside. Not only that, if prestige is so important, why give players the Violet Spellwing? This is a mount I got for playing and getting ahead of the curve when it was current, and the envy of my friends that didn't play then. Why do they get to have my prestigious Spellwing, but I cannot get my Monk Mage Tower set just because I wasn't playing Monk in Legion? The selective bias is always going to upset people, since players are willing to swallow their pride and desires if it's fair across the board for everyone, which is clearly not. With that in mind, devs, if this video ever reaches you, choose one. Either the game rewards skillful use of your class knowledge and expansion in high-end gameplay to reward you with class-specific cosmetics consistently with each expansion, or it rewards players for playing certain events that gives them access to parts of the game they never got to engage in because, I don't know, individual circumstances. This all just feels like a group of sour gamers that want to gatekeep their toys because they were the first ones to get them. It's not even about prestige anymore. Mage Tower was a joke in 7.3.5 since people could do it with massively more item level and even ignore certain mechanics designed to fail you in your trial. How is that harder to get than anything endgame rewards you with today, where the game is arguably twice as complex? In the end, it's either fair or selective, and if you are not a part of the cool club, tough luck for you. Better be at the right place at the right time next time so that your prestige item doesn't get handed to everyone while the one you really want is gate-kept. But with Season 3 underway and Midnight just a few days away from being revealed, start 11.2 with style and quality of life. Check out our add-ons for Ghosts of Koresh, from questing to raiding to Mythic Plus. Your gamer life will be expanded.